All right. Hello, hello, hello. I think we are live. um,
The camera frame.
figure out a good. All right. So, hello.
Almost feels like one of our faces is getting cut off.
Do you want to scoot in then?
Better. Okay.
Good. Okay. Cool. I'm just checking to see how the channels are going. We're just kind of getting to see. Hoping that the chat comes online because I can't see anything right now for some reason. Cool. I think we're live.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. My name's CJ.
My name's Mabbies.
And we are Studio Terra Nova. We're a worker-owned indie game dev studio and design studio in Tokyo, Japan. And we make games.
Yeah. Like this one that you're seeing right now.
Yeah. So, what we're gonna do tonight is I released a game. Hold on. I released a game called FFOAM, which is the family-friendly online museum, or FFOAM for short. It appears that a lot of people have played this game and like it, which I think is super cool.
Yeah.
To people who are, I don't know if people, the same people who follow us on YouTube and Twitch also follow us on itch.io, but we got a lot of really interesting posts from people that we had never seen before, so that was really cool and neat. So thank you to everybody who played, and thank you to everybody who played the game. I see that our one person in the chat is somebody who's trying to spam the...
Yeah, we love it when we get comments in the chat, but usually we prefer when they're real people and not spammers.
Yeah, so true. So, Mabbies, do you want to give a stab at why this family-friendly online art museum game was created while I go and ban this person?
Yeah. So the tongue-in-cheek answer is, of course, because there's not enough ways to view family-friendly art online yet, and we needed to solve that problem. But the more true reason is because there are, in fact, ways to see art online, and there are also a lot of people working very hard to make that less possible through censorship and age verification things. And unfortunately, a lot of the age verification policies at the moment don't seem to be doing a whole lot to actually protect children. They do seem to be doing a lot to make it hard to be an artist online.
Yep.
Get that about right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I'll add to that and just say that that broadly, I think the way that the argument is constructed as being age verification is sort of fundamentally flawed, because the question here is what are you trying to protect people from exactly? And I think the asking people what the actual like best state scenario is for like kids and online interaction really ends up with conversations and discussions that don't necessarily involve age verification. So all that to say, I talked about this a little bit in our newsletter, which I'll bring up right here because I think it's neat. But essentially, there was somebody who is a person I'm very inspired by the name of Dana Boyd, who spoke about age verification on the internet in these terms, and this is actually in protest to COSA, the Kids Online Safety Act, which was the precursor to a lot of this age verification.
Recent legislation.
Yeah, legislation that has like spurred on the actions for age verification, which is that the internet is a mirror and it mirrors the good and the bad and the ugly. And so it's not about content or technology baseline causes harm. It's the way in which technology is being used that that exacerbates an already unhealthy society where people are being exploited, suffering, and they don't have social safety nets. So instead of trying to design solutions within tech, which seems like kind of the low-hanging fruit, the more difficult work is trying to increase the social safety net and resilience of everyone in the population. So I guess that's kind of my like very, very academic take on it, but all of that kind of like boiled over into around when Discord started doing age assurance or age verification, which they're still not.
They're not doing it.
They're going to be doing it later this year.
Yes.
And so, out of frustration, I thought, well, I'm going to make a game about this, and it turned out to be very timely.
Yeah.
So,
I will add a few thoughts, if I may, which is philosophically, the reason why age verification might make sense if you believe in this is based on the premise that young people are both uniquely vulnerable and uniquely helpless online. And I don't think either of those are true, actually. I think a lot of what's online is not nearly as harmful as some of the, I'm gonna say it, bigoted adults might want you to believe. And also, there are tools. There are ways to curate your online experience or to block things that you don't want without requiring all of the internet to do it for you. Or without a government mandate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, yes. Yeah. I haven't read Jonathan Haidt's books, but even in just some of like his do you know Jonathan Haidt?
I'm not familiar.
He wrote a book I think called like The Anxiety, like The Generation of Anxiety or something like that. Height, sorry. The Anxious Generation, yes. It definitely kind of took the world by storm, and I think you probably can tell the kind of person that he is just looking at his books. The Anxious Generation, The Coddling of the American Mind, The Righteous Mind, and The Happiness Hypothesis. And, it's a lot of philosophizing about like our current modern times, which everyone is like wants to do, but he happened to be skyrocketed to national fame and get featured on um, like the Ezra Klein show and other shows. So you'll hear his books in and around, but like I have been meaning to read his books and compare them to some of the books that like I personally find very like great and influential about like kids online. And in particular, the book that I'm talking about, that you probably it's on their website. So Data Boyd actually kindly provided this book for free on their website.
That's really cool.
Oh no, he works at the Heritage Foundation. Ugh.
Yeah, I'll give you a sense of what kind of guy that is.
Banned words. So all that to say that like, highly recommend checking out Dana Boyd's work. She/they is a ethnographer, and did a very comprehensive study of teens online in 2014, and talked about just the kind of like the complicated lives of teens, and settles primarily on saying, okay, well, the internet, when it comes to public spaces, is a public that teens can go into to get away from their parents, and that is one way of like kids moving out of the control that their parents have on them. And they said that could be a good thing if they find somebody who has their best interests at heart, but it also can be a bad thing if somebody is doesn't have their best interests at heart. But the thing is like, kids wanting to have a space that's away from adults for them to like experiment in and play in is a totally normal and natural thing for kids to have. And so the concept of saying like, we need to make all of these spaces kid friendly, and all of these spaces something where like kids are always beholden to rules, and those rules like are in conjunction with like what the parents' wants and needs are. I don't personally believe that, because a kid should be able to meet a bunch of different people and experience a bunch of different things that may or may not challenge like the beliefs that they previously had about things that their parents taught them.
Yeah. This is not a unique observation, but there are a lot of parallels between the control that some parents want to have over their kids and control that some people want the state to have over everyone.
Yeah. So, without further ado, that's our rant about stuff. This is just a fun game. I mean, it's fun and it's spooky and stuff like that. So, let's get to it. Let's play the family-friendly online art museum today. Welcome to the family-friendly online art museum, FFOAM. We are a safe space for kids and advertisers alike to be free from controversial adult content. To view any adult content, we ask all patrons undergo an age assurance test. Welcome aboard and enjoy getting foamed. Signed, the staff. Isn't that nice? I like the footsteps. You did a good job, Matt. Mabby's was
a little bit of Foley work for this game.
It's true, yeah. Mabby's was hitting his shoes together to create that. All right, let's click for more info. One of the oldest known ceramic figures in the world. This type of statuette is known as a Venus figurine and is thought to be linked to fertility and the afterlife. The resurrection of the flesh. Skeletons being brought back from the afterlife and made human. It represents the concept of eternal life in Christianity. Staff note: while we recognize the importance of religion in children's lives, we have removed parts that may be seen as offensive. I think this room here, if I were to like talk a little bit about the design here. This room is supposed to be the sort of introduction into what nudity is or can be in art. So especially as both a pagan or secular. I mean, it's unclear whether or not the Venus like goddess statue is specifically pagan or just in general like a general deity. But these sorts of like fertility statues have been used and have been discovered for many, many, many millions of years. And the okay, not millions, maybe thousands. Maybe many thousands. Humans have not been around that long. Dinosaurs, however, maybe. Thousands of years. And Christianity has been around for quite some time as well. And I think, especially in researching art and nude works, I think there's a strong correlation with like religion and the human body. So resurrection, death, life, fertility, like all of that is very part and parcel with the way that people experience nudity is also in religious paintings. All right, next we have this 3 up here. Which one would you like to pick first, Mabbies?
I'll go for the middle.
All right, the middle one. Light of Iris by Georgia O'Keeffe. O'Keeffe saw her work as seeing and noticing the unnoticeable, like a flower. Her critics, however, said it resembled a certain female part. Staff note, we respect the legacy of the late O'Keeffe, however, we acknowledge other interpretations exist. For this reason, we have decided to remove the offending part, real or perceived. This one I feel like is a meta commentary, because O'Keeffe herself said that these were simply close-ups of flowers, and so
They are.
I think that to critique a perception of something based on and not based on what the actual artist had said, I feel like that's just an interesting thing.
Yeah, and I think a lot of why you and I think that being able to publish art is important, because the same policies or laws or ideas that people use to say that we must censor nudity will be used for other things too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I think it's never just stops at one thing, right? It's always about perception. There's a rule about like, in general, like erotic art, where people say, what's the difference between, erotica and art? And the answer people usually give is, I know it when I see it, which means that there isn't really any particular metric. It's just down to whatever a person's like perception is of what it is.
Yeah.
Though, admittedly, I have seen in like recent book bannings some of those metrics be described in very gory detail, and that's been very interesting to watch. Like lawmakers have to fumble with that kind of like very specific description.
Yeah.
Truth lies in a well, having been killed by liars and actors. Jean-Léon Jerome. An innocent man was sentenced for life in prison for crimes he did not commit. The artist saw this as a sign of radicalization in France, as if to say, when even the naked truth is rejected, we have already lost. Another one by Jean-Léon Jerome. Apologies if I said the name wrong. Truth coming out of her well to shame humanity. This painting is related to Truth Lies in a Well, in reference to a Jewish man convicted of a crime without tangible evidence. The man, Alfred Dreyfus, was deported to an island prison with hellish conditions. He was exonerated after 12 years. The perpetrator was found to be the head of staff of the French military intelligence service, who used Dreyfus as a scapegoat. So, this is nudity as metaphor. So, metaphor for the naked truth, or metaphor for like things that often get overlooked. So let's move on to this next one. Oh, I think I need to pee. Let's go check out the toilets.
All right.
I'm gonna choose the male toilets. Please scan your government ID. You refuse. The door to the toilets remains closed. Okay. Please scan your government ID to confirm your sex. You refuse. The door to the toilets remains closed. But I really have to pee. But you must select one before you can pee. And don't use the toilets. Thanks for using the family-friendly toilets. We look forward to serving you again soon. You did not serve me! Let's check this out. Oh, yeah. Guernica, Pablo Picasso. Did you know that this was a depiction of the 1937 bombing of a city in Spain by the Nazis? Bombs rained down on the citizens of Guernica for hours in an experiment predating the bombing of civilians later seen in later wars. Countless lives were lost, and it is known as a powerful anti-war piece. Oh, restricted area. Okay. Oh no! Oh. Staff note. We understand that nudity can be disturbing to some children. Nevertheless, we find Picasso's work to be a powerful piece. Please enjoy the screams of agony in a child-friendly environment. It's true. No one has used those scanner toilets before. All right, let's turn that back on. That scares me. I think I may have mentioned this also in the newsletter as well, but I did sort of a deep dive into like war photography for the piece on Guernica and ended up cutting out a lot of photography and art because it there's something about the depiction of human suffering that dehumanizes someone, and so I wanted to be very careful about the way that I used art when it came to like portraying a subject. So I ended up choosing Picasso's more abstract Guernica because I wanted to make a point about nudity versus violence. But that being said, I think I definitely had to, after doing some of that work, I had to kind of like take a moment and bleach my like mind for a little bit because it was definitely a very harrowing rabbit hole to go down. Oh yes. Okay, so moving on to this part, we are going to go take a look at these. These are photographs. Well, this is a photograph. A photo taken of three men at the Folsom Street Fair. They're holding a sign that reads, "Nudity is not a crime." Oh, hi. I see someone in the chat that we know. Hello. I know it's super late. Thank you so much for just popping in and saying hi. You can watch the VOD later if you want. It's an annual festival in San Francisco celebrating. Who knows? Who knows what it is? It started as a way to enhance visibility and connect the community without shame. Staff note: nudity still may be considered a crime. Please consult your local laws. Yeah, we many thanks to the Naked Gentleman who provided this for the Wikimedia Commons. I think it's great, a great photo, and also one that talks a little bit. Well, I was going to say I'm probably going to make an entire game about this particular subject and its like relation to pride in the LGBTQ community, but that's a separate video game.
Yeah.
You're just getting a peek into my backlog of ideas. All right, Henry Scott, The Bathers. A A portrait of some young men taking a swim in the ocean. They look peaceful and at ease. What's so dangerous about this painting? I kind of wish I would have had a light switch in here and like turned it off and had some kind of like, you know, paint or something like that. But the point here is that like, you know, the nude body becomes less and less abstracted over time, over the course of working through foam. And this is probably the least abstracted form of the human body, not as a religious piece, not as metaphor, not as war or violence being enacted upon it, but just kind of a body.
I wanted to mention, I've told CJ this before, but it's I don't know, I think a relevant story to this part of the foam, that I am still and also grew up male, and
am
still
committed
yes.
to the bed, I see.
Yep. And when I was a preteen or so, around that time I started to notice how uncomfortable adults were about showing nudity or bodies to anyone, the public, whatever. And part of that in specific is naked breasts. It's a thing that people don't like to show. And that's fine especially if they're your breasts and you want to be private about it, more power to you. I think when it becomes a cultural-wide phenomenon, then some kind of weird things happen. And that was for me as a preteen wondering, so what's the big deal? It's just nipples, right? Hang on. What if it isn't just nipples?
It's what would be dangerous? Bees. It's bees.
It could be bees. What if it's bees? And of course later, as a teenager, I did at some point encounter porn and realize it was actually just nipples. I don't get what the big deal was.
Yeah.
Why did we all make such a big deal out of this?
I mean, yeah, I am not an adult, so... Or no, not an adult. I'm a kid. No, I was going to say, I'm not a parent, so I don't know.
Yes.
You know, what people's thoughts about that is, but I've also had, like, age-appropriate conversations with kids, too, about various things. I was raised in a very sort of, like, progressive household.
Yeah.
So, when I went out into the world at age, like, 18 or so, I was met with people being really weird about the way that I thought. And so it was, for me, the shock came kind of later on where I was like, wait, I just grew up in a house where like everything was fine. And, you know, if I asked questions, my family would answer it very honestly. So around that particular subject, there were others that were like a little bit more difficult, but that one in particular was one that I was very, you know, didn't understand what the fuss was about. So
yeah,
I can understand.
I think when, as a culture, we've made it so that people don't actually know what human bodies look like anymore. I think we've over-rotated on the censorship.
I think it's bees. I think it
could be bees.
They're bees?
It's very dangerous. That's why we can't.
Yeah.
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 We can't expose the breasts.
A whole bag of bees right in there.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm sure if I'd asked anyone point blank, like, what is it, they would just told me nipples, but I didn't ask.
I am going to... Would you like to view some adult content?
We should do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we go into the gift shop, I promise we'll make time for the gift shop. But
are we allowed to show adult content on YouTube?
I'm actually...
on Twitch?
I'm not
know.
Based on the kinds of things we've been talking about in this stream, I don't know if we're going to get kicked off. Like, that's one thing I'm a little concerned about. So I'm trying to be very careful about my words here.
Yeah.
It would be really funny if by streaming this we got kicked off of YouTube and Twitch, because I feel like that would indeed prove my point.
It would also. I think that lends significant evidence to the conspiracy theory that it's bees.
Yes.
YouTube and Twitch do not want you to know about the bees.
We're gonna show you some really intense bees right about now.
Okay.
Are you 18 and older, Mabbies?
I am.
Okay. As much as we would like to believe you, the following work is definitely not for children. Please proceed to our high-tech age assurance system, the family-friendly age reassurance test, also known as the FART. Okay, this is the test that has caused so much consternation in the comments. Yeah, I know you're worried about that. I'm trying to be good, but like, we'll see. Oh, cool. Yeah. There's lots of like cool things in the gallery. Some people go straight to the adults only section. Some people just kind of walk through the gallery. All right, now time for the fart. All right, we're gonna do it, y'all. We're gonna pass it. Now, I feel like this is unfair because I'm extremely biased. I made this, so what I'm about to do is I'm about to basically give everybody a walkthrough for how to play this game. These questions will help us approximate your age. If you get a question wrong, you'll be sent back to the start. Good luck. I intentionally did this to frustrate people, so get excited. What is the album art for Nevermind? I'm at least going to get one of the questions wrong so you can see the art that goes, in. What is the album art for Nevermind feature? A baby in a pool, a prism reflecting in a rainbow, a close-up of Kurt Cobain, or a couple holding hands?
You asking me? You asking the chat?
You. I'm asking you.
Okay. It is a baby in a pool.
Oh, good job. Next question. Who of the following is not a Tumblr sexy man? Bill Cipher, The Onceler, John Cena, or Sans?
I wish the answer was The Onceler.
But
unfortunately...
Are you a Onceler hater?
I just don't get the deal. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, in general, I don't understand it either. Like, I think Sans is the one that I can most kind of be like, okay, yeah, like, I get it. But, you know, like being on Tumblr sometimes, and then I read like Sans X reader fic, and I'm like, it's not for me. Okay, we're just gonna choose the ones just for funsies.
Okay.
Oh no! We're unable to verify your age. We're not assured. All right, let's try again.
Okay, it is John Cena.
Yep. You sure do know you're sexy, man. Next. What would you use this piece of equipment for? To go back in time, to call people, to operate an iPad, or to punch into work?
That's for calling people.
It is for calling people. You're not an iPad kid, are you? Who is the target of blank 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 sucks oranges campaign? Anita Bryant, Barry Goldwater, Chevy Chase, or Zooey Deschanel? Oh no! The old fandom wiki on Tumblr section. That's such a tragedy. It's funny because like I actually learned about Tumblr sexy men like secondhand. Tumblr sexy men is the old millennials version of Smexy Bishi, but
yes,
in a slightly maybe more like scene kid sense. Scene emo kid? I'm not sure. They're usually sad, I think. I did this intentionally, but it's A, B, C, and D. It's Anita Bryant. Also, fun fact, that's a just fun piece of LGBTQ history. Because Anita Bryant was the 1970s version of J.K. Rowling, where she made a lot of money and fame and fortune on oranges, not novels, but she was promoting the Florida Orange campaign, and she used her wealth and fame to try to repeal rights for the LGBTQ community. And so the LGBTQ community fought back and made a campaign called Anita Sucks Oranges. Yeah. They also, I think there were like boycotts of orange juice in gay bars, as well as like there was a point, I think in the Castro, where everybody came out at the same time and like poured orange juice into the street too. So there was a lot of public like protesting of her and the products that she stood for, and Florida eventually took her off as a campaign person.
Yep.
The family-friendly age reassurance test is asking, pick a number that you find funny.
420.
420, yeah. I will say like one secret tip, which is that there's only one wrong answer here. Actually, all of them are right except for one. Almost got you, didn't I? Next. All right, so if you were James Bond, how would you order your drinks? Scotch and whiskey neat, Earl Grey hot, martini shaken not stirred, or gin and tonic with rocks?
Vodka martini, shaken not stirred.
That's right. Oh!
3/12 inches. That should be 3.5 inches, yeah?
But we just did one, like, that was a James Bond, like, thing, and the comment was about floppy disk.
You mentioned there was a question that went missing, and now we know what it was.
Yes.
It was about floppy disks.
Yeah, it was about floppy.
So there's a little bit of a non sequitur here.
Interesting. Okay. I will have to fix that. Nobody pointed that out, so I think that's interesting. But I will fix that.
Everyone was too busy trying to answer the questions.
It's true, yeah. We're really focused on that. Thank you. All right. Your best friend asked you for an expensive birthday gift. What is it? A gold bracelet, a Stanley Cup, a GoFundMe for rent, or Octomore whiskey? Again, there's only one wrong answer here.
I'm gonna pick a gold bracelet.
All right. What a good friend you are. Who is this photograph of? Nathan Lane, John Waters, Hugo Weaving, or Anderson Cooper?
That's your boy, John Waters.
He is. He's a director of very avant-garde films that I'm a fan of, and also I met him in person once. And, he spoke at my school back when I was a college student, and he's awesome. I have his book, actually.
Yeah.
One of my treasured pieces of, like, I don't know. Yeah, one of my treasured pieces of literature. Who was not the Vice President of the United States in 1973 to 74? Was it Gerald Ford, Nelson Rockefeller, Spiro Agnew, or Thomas Hayden?
I'll be honest, I think this is one you gotta look up.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Maybe you know, I remember I answered it correctly at least once when I played through this, but I don't honestly remember. I think it's Thomas Hayden, but it might be Nelson Rockefeller. We're gonna find out.
All right, so one more to go. If you arrive at a party wearing your birthday suit, you would make many new friends, be thrown out, fit right in. It depends on the party.
I think it depends on the party.
Indeed it does. Thank you, Mammies. You've been a verified, honest-to-God adult. You must be so proud.
I'm a real adult.
Yep.
You all believe me, right?
I still laugh at this.
Fart jokes. Excellent.
Yay! That's the two of us, by the way. There we go. There's your adult content.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Michelangelo's David, on display in public in Florence, Italy. There's more information, but you don't pay attention past this line. You're hoping for something more erotic. All that time spent in the fart to ensure your age. Just to see a sculpture that's on public display? There's nothing special about a flaccid penis. And those are words I will stand by. Kids probably walk by it and don't even notice them. But now that it's been labeled as controversial adult art, here you are trying to imagine this art into something taboo, just so that you can justify the effort you spent getting here. You notice the last and final staff note scribbled on the corner of the wall. Would you like to see the gift shop?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. What's the gift shop? Right this way. Now we're at the gift shop. Foam t-shirts. Some say enjoy getting foamed, or ready or not, here I foam. Who would buy a t-shirt like this? What are these? Pink and red hand plushies with eyes sewn into the palm. A small sign reads, adopt a staff member today.
I mostly want to know who would wear a t-shirt like that, but also, if you want a t-shirt like that,
let us know.
Put a comment on the itch page. We'll screen print one and mail it to you.
I was gonna say,
maybe, I don't know.
Well, you'd have to pay us money, but yes.
Yeah, not for free, but
postcards of various paintings in the museum. Even the postcards have censor bars. And you can talk to the person. Cashier is falling asleep at the till. You clear your throat. She jumps awake. Oh, welcome to the gift shop. We take Visa or Monster card. Which one do you want to pick, Mabbies?
What's with all the creepy staff notes?
Her face looks blank. What staff notes?
How does this place make money?
We offer free admission, so we mostly do goods and advertising, she says. Sometimes we get grants from religious groups. Bonnie's like, now I want a t-shirt like that.
Yeah.
I think the ready or not, here I foam is the one that I would go for.
What is foam?
Foam is a safe space for kids and advertisers alike to be free from controversial adult content, she says, and then notices your unamused face. It's a free museum with censored art.
Censorship hurts artists. And doesn't help kids.
Well, what do you think we should do? She chuckles. Go after predators with a lot of money and power? That's a lot of work.
Can I buy a t-shirt?
Thanks, that'll be 3,000 yen.
Okay. Well, I was wondering what we were gonna sell our t-shirts for, and now I know the answer. Let us know if you want a t-shirt for 3,000 yen. Yeah.
I don't even think thanks. Thanks for stopping by. And then you can go back to this area if you want to go back to the gift shop. I
wonder if most of our players are not in Japan, whether they think the 3,000 yen part is funny.
Yeah, I don't know.
We didn't intend it as, like, anything... I don't know. I assume you did not intend it as a particularly meaningful anything other than a price.
Well, the thing is like, somebody was like, I don't understand these questions because I don't live in America. And I was like, me neither.
Fair. I think most Americans probably still don't.
And here are the credits. I did the art and the writing and the Pogaming. And Mabbies did the sound effects, and Coffee Veil and Bat, we bought a sound pack from them. And in fact, let's just minus out the work that was put into this game. This game cost $5 to make from a asset thing. Decker was free. I hooked up my iPad to mirror on my PC, so there wasn't any program or anything that I used. I just used Decker to directly draw in Decker,
Yep.
and used all like public works and Wikimedia Commons stuff. So no licensing, no like nothing. Just to say that like that's as low as like the cost that I could keep making the game. However, we're not factoring in any of the work that I put into it. So I really appreciate the people who have paid $2 to support me. We had, I think, 5 or 6 people donate, so I really appreciate it. If you're interested, let us know. Yeah. I also wonder if the gallery is haunted. I mean, there's staff notes everywhere, and like the lady obviously doesn't see them. There is a picture that you can unlock here, but that is only in the paid version. So that is the family-friendly online art museum, and I think it's pretty much... Oh my goodness! Oh, we just got suspended for streaming for one day from Twitch. Oh my god. What was the violation?
Is it that we said the word penis?
Oh, the violation was nudity. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh jeez.
Which?
Oh my gosh. And I really, yeah. Cool. Yeah. So we got. I'm just gonna take a screenshot. Wow. Do we get to use this for advertising, Bonnie?
This game is too spicy for Twitch.
Apparently. Oh, Lord. Okay, wow. Yeah, I had a sort of, like, thought or feeling that was... Yeah, it seems that Twitch can't tell art from reality, apparently. That's cool. I might appeal it. I mean, it's one of those things that it's just a strike on the channel, and we are not allowed to stream tomorrow, which is fine because we're on break tomorrow. So,
yeah.
But also, interesting. Well, thank you for coming to our social experiment. You didn't realize that you were part of a social experiment, but here you are. Mm-hmm. I am back on the page that has completely censored. Hey, Twitch, YouTube, just let me know. I'm completely censoring everything here. This is totally safe. It's family friendly, I swear. So I wanted to oh god, I can't get over that. Anyway, we are... That was a fun like wrap up to the end of the that timing couldn't have been better.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go down to some of the comments. I'll read out some of the comments. Only the ones that I like, though. I failed fart. It turns out I'm not actually 18 plus. Oh, man. Sorry. Yeah, no content for you. Very evocative. I hope that everyone plays this. Thank you very much. That means a lot. I have an idea of what a Tumblr sexy man is only because younger people brought up the Onceler. See? Onceler is popular.
Onceler.
In a social media conversation about censorship, I'm no less confused after passing the fart. It's true. I didn't make the game to educate people about Tumblr sexy men, but I appreciate everybody staying with us anyway. Powerful and straight to the point. Some silly touches too. I enjoyed the pen mechanic. I felt like defacing the art myself made the message that much more poignant. They are talking about the paid version actually allows you to draw on the canvases. And the reason why I'm not showing the paid version right now is because, one, I want you to find it for yourself. But two, because I would be way too tempted, and I don't want to get banned off of 2 streaming services tonight. Just one. One is good as a treat.
I played a game in high school. Actually, I think we started in middle school. I was still playing it in high school with my friends. The game is somebody draws a little doodle on their notebook of boobs or a penis or something, and the other person has to figure out how to turn that doodle into something family friendly.
Oh, like a dog or like a person, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that like you did that in middle school, right? That's the kind of middle school thing yeah. As I mentioned, I can't pass the age test because I'm not American. Yep. I don't know if y'all know, but I based some of the questions off of the age verification in Leisure Suit Larry. So Leisure Suit Larry is a sexy game that came out in like the 90s. Actually, I think it was like the early 80s.
I think we looked this up. I wanted to say it was like 93 or 94.
Yeah. But anyway, this the person who made Allo made an age verification test, and it like, because it was that age of the internet where like only people who were online playing these games were only boomers. Like that was the assumption, that like only boomers were the people that were old enough to like get these age jokes. There's like a ton of boomer related like verification questions, and actually the birthday suit one and the president one was pulled directly from Leisure Suit Larry. One, because I was just so inspired by them, but two, like it is Leisure Suit Larry is very American, like unabashedly American, unabashedly like that. And so I think that the influence definitely came in very like strongly from Leisure Suit Larry on some of the questions that are like more American. But I do think technically the commenter is right that it's a lot of American based stuff, but I promise you can look it up. I also liked the response. I passed the age test even though I'm not into Western American traditional media or whatever the hell it is. I literally live at the other side of the world. Thank you. Yes. Basically our point. I really appreciated this comment. Very fun little game. Here are my thoughts. I love the messages on censorship in media. It's definitely overt, but there's still some slightly more subtle ideas that aren't bashing you over the head, like the Jerome painting being included, and ideas that public works with nudity would be considered very adult. The minimal art style brings to mind the notions of old internet, which fits into the notion of censorship being an outdated concept. A lot of censorship in media is involved with these forms of art that are more crude than the paintings here, so seeing these paintings censored in a similar manner is a helpful juxtaposition. The quiz is the only gameplay that this offers, which isn't necessarily a bad thing for a creative work of this nature, but it was a bit annoying having to do the game from start when I got a question wrong, which of course makes sense in terms of it being a highly flawed form of age verification.
Yeah.
I liked the bathroom bit. A personal grudge for me is the restriction of basic human needs and liberties, such as relieving oneself. There should be no amount of anything restricting basic bodily functions. I think this work is a necessary piece in the modern day. Censorship is an idea that I've recently been thinking about, and it's nice to see I'm not the only one considering the issue. I look forward to future work. Wow. I mean, that's the highest praise that anyone could give me, so thank you. I really appreciate it. The age verification quiz. It only took 4 days for people to post like the age verification quiz, which I did check, and I noticed that the age verification quiz answers didn't catch on to some of the questions only having one wrong answer. So, yeah. I mean, if you're the person who made that answer, consider updating. But I'm not going to say anything. You have to go like watch this VOD in order for. I passed the fart. Poo poot. Somebody asked, "Am I allowed to request that art is added into the museum?" Which I thought was very interesting. So far, I would consider this work to be like a completely done piece. But if people are interested in adding like more rooms or whatnot, I will think a little bit about like themes and stuff. I also was very pleased with this one. Black bars everywhere, absolutely obscene. I'm reporting this to my local facial, Family Art Council investigation of art licentious. Prepared to get facialed. That's no joke, guys.
Yeah.
The bathroom bit was a hit for me. I got really scared when the options were male or female and not men or women, and then it asked for verification. I was really scared. Yeah. Yeah, I hear that. It's like, I don't know what else to say except like, stay safe, y'all. It's that particular bit was something that was very personal to me, and I think very personal to other trans folks as well. It took me about 2 to 3 times to pass the fart. Nah, not bad. I have to go add in one more question to the fart, which will, I'm sure, cause people more consternation, because there's supposed to be another question in there. I'm actually going to check to see what has happened in my... in the base file. Hold on. Opening. I'm opening this. I'm going to here. Yeah. What happened? I want to know. Where'd you go?
I want to say hi. Okay.
Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We did. We skipped one, but like it's like there's a ghost there. Should we add in another question and throw all the numbering off? Or like I don't know how this happened that we made reference to a question that's not actually there. It was in like actually, here's like super secret meta talk here. There was a question and it was originally built I built the fart on a separate stream, and I did not save my work, and it got deleted, and so I had to like basically watch my stream again and like redo the work that I did. Yeah, and I realized that I must have like fever dreamed. Like I was like, oh, I'm missing a question. I'll just add a new one, because the like questions didn't line up, but I actually can't remember which question I added in lieu of the other one. So the question is, should I make the age verification test 11 questions and really just like throw off everybody, or should I delete that piece of text and just act like the ghost question never happened?
I don't know.
I'll think about it. But yes, thank you so much for like to everybody who played. It was a very like cathartic and personal experience for me to make this game. But I feel like when I put something out that's relatively personal and then like other people resonate with that, that means a lot to me. So thank you everybody for playing this. I'm very like humbled and happy that people liked it. Cool. So, we're transitioning to the next part of the stream, unless there's anything else that you wanted to add as a closer.
If you're interested in the paid version of FFOAM, I want to see what you doodle on the thing. Post the pictures.
Yeah, please. I really want people to post screenshots of the stuff that they draw. I do not know if Itch will let us, but then again, there's nothing saying the comments can't have. Yeah, I'm not sure. But if you're like, oh man, you know, Itch.
Or you can just draw googly eyes on everybody. That's fine.
Yeah, that's also fine. That's fine. You know, I don't want to like open our mailbox up to like crazy pictures, but actually at the same time, if you hand drew it yourself, you can just email us. If they don't, if you don't have, if you don't want to post it in a comment, you can just email us. We cannot show it on stream if it has some kind of content associated with it, apparently, because we're gonna get like a strike,
I guess.
from Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, I think like just as kind of a personal thought is that I was always kind of afraid of making games like this because I think it would put me solidly into the like type of person who's like that kind of person who makes edgy games. I don't know exactly how to explain it, but it's kind of like the feeling that you get when you're like, oh, I'm not like those other feminists, trans people, queer people, like whatever, right? I'm one of the cool ones. I'm not going to get angry if you mistake my pronouns. I'm not going to like, I think there's a general pressure that is primarily like, oh, Jello. There we go. There's a pressure that's a cat. Primarily propagated by like conservative types that like if you're a feminist you're a stereotype of something, or like if you're a trans person you're a stereotype of something, and like I even see it in people who are like very allied, saying like, oh well, you're a feminist, so like don't bite my head off at this one thing, and it's like, so that just assumes that feminists are always on edge and like they're not cool people to hang out with. I don't resonate with that kind of like it just leaves a bit of a bad taste in my mouth, and so all through like my entire life I tried to kind of like avoid those kinds of stereotypes being heaped on me as a person, because I wanted people to know me and understand me as a nuanced person.
Yeah.
And I realized, I don't know, like relatively recently that I think that there's no amount of like adjusting or like folding in on yourself or that kind of thing that will cause people to not let up on those stereotypes. I feel like Mabby's, you're more into like, you have more of a lean in philosophy, and I might have a bit more of like lean out philosophy. But that being said, I think anytime I make a game that's kind of like personal, or even a game that deals with like anger or frustration, I have a hard time releasing it because it worries me to be thought of as an angry person, because that's simply like a completely that's simply not who I am. As just a core human. So, yeah. That's my sort of like heartfelt, genuine thought about it is anytime that somebody plays a game and gets the game, I feel seen a little bit, and I appreciate that. Cool. All right. So we're gonna transition to another part of like the stream. We have, I don't know, 45 minutes, an hour left into like our streaming tonight.
Yeah.
For those of you who tuned in to do FOAM, very much appreciate you. What I am going to do now is I'm going to do a little bit of drawing tonight on the stream. And one thing I was thinking about recently is I'll show you a fan art I did first. But I've been thinking a little bit about our next game, which is called The Frontier, which is about a utopia that is I guess you'd call it like a virtual reality utopia, right? Yeah, virtual reality utopia that people are born into and can like live their entire days from birth to death in a complete virtual reality separate from the like real world. And the story is about a person who um, escapes, not willingly, but gets evicted from this perfect world into the actual real world, and is somewhat horrified by what they find. So it is actually, Mabbies, I'll let you talk a little bit about um, the game because I think it's born from your, like the seed is yours, right?
Hmm. Yeah. One of the um, one of the key themes in the frontier is sustainability and I suppose more to the point, the opposite of that, all of the excess that the tech community recently has leaned very hard into, and so um, there's a philosophy that both CJ and I ascribe to called degrowth,
Mm-mm.
and I think the idea there is that if we take the time to reimagine culture and consumption and productivity and all of these things in a way that's um, not about making number go up anymore, but about uh, the what we actually want to live a good life. That um, there's a lot of provocations there as to how we might do that. Um, so in the frontier, I want to look at uh, a lot a lot of the um, I want to look into a lot of the harm that um, both tech and the global north and capitalism and all of these things are doing right now and kind of extrapolate that forward. So that's a little bit of the setting. And then I also want to look at what are the sort of concrete things that regular people can do about that. Um, so one of the um, cultural touch points that I want to lean on quite a lot for the frontier is the Matrix, which I think has a lot of great allegory and imagery and symbolism and is a damn cool movie. But also, um, one of the things that I'm trying to move away from is the framing that we could solve this if only we had a really strong person with the best kung fu or something. I don't think that that's a very actionable message to most of us, and I don't think that's actually how change happens. I think change on meaningfully uh, is the result of a lot of people working in solidarity.
Yeah, that's very well put, Mabbies.
I hope so. I feel like I'm rambling a little bit, but that's all right.
I liked the sort of like link back to degrowth. I think that to me is a very important part of like the frontier and everything. And I'm curious, now that we're like talking a little bit more about um, the frontier writ large.
Yeah.
What's been your experience as like a technologist working in the tech industry?
It's tough, especially recently. I think not just in the past 5 years, but maybe in the past 10 or so, that there's been a real tendency for the tech community to chase the newest, shiniest thing.
Mm-hmm.
And um, at least while I was first starting to write for the Frontier, that new shiny thing was the metaverse. And so part of the philosophy of what I wrote was trying to sort of interrogate the whole what if we all did virtual reality kind of thing. And there's lately been not a whole lot of continued interest in the metaverse. So in some ways, I feel like that's um, making the ideas that I want to cover in the frontier a little bit less relevant, and maybe that's fine. I don't think they have to be the most topical or timely. Um, but there's recently, of course, a lot of uh, new and continued interest in AI, and unfortunately, building new data centers, which are not sustainable and not good for the environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that the frontier follows, or these are its two main characters. Although the frontier doesn't really like, the frontier has an initial main character, but these two are the ones that the frontier follows very closely on, which is Lilith and Freya,
Hmm.
who are two women in love, just trying to do their best. Um, and I think that they're both, their relationship is very lovely to me. Oh, there's a cat.
Yeah.
There's a cat in the way. I was gonna say the cat does not want us to stream. She wants us to hug her. Yeah, you want to be hugged? Granted, I mean, if someone was like, "Do you want to stream right now or do you want to hug?" I'd probably be like, "Hug."
Hmm.
Oh no! Okay, she's gonna fight you.
Okay.
Um, but you know, we're thinking a lot about like our uh, we're thinking a lot about our upcoming game, and like it's interesting because like I feel like um, the like you said, Mabby's, there was kind of like a cultural zeitgeist around the metaverse that like um, that the frontier was playing off of, but I do think that that heat of that like the that kind of what's the word uh, the heat of the moment has still not totally cooled down,
Yeah.
and so like I think it's still fine. I mean, you can make a game about whatever you want, but like
Yep.
I think one of the things that makes the frontier special is that there's a lot of there's a lot of like themes that I think could be pulled out to other types of things.
Yeah. And that really is one of my goals in the frontier, is to explore a topic from multiple angles. So I can get into a little bit of Lilith and Freya, because one of the things that gets talked about a lot in tech, especially when there's some new interesting bit of technology that's looking for a buyer, or looking for the spotlight, looking for its niche. Sometimes it comes up that, oh, this could help disabled people. And I have mixed feelings about that a lot of the time. I think, on the one hand, it's great for technology to assist people. There is a lot of good assistive tech out there, and it can make a big difference for people that live with disabilities.
Like dictation apps and screen readers.
Yep. And also, it is the case that disability is socially constructed. That a lot of times the actual hardship of disability comes more from the way you relate to other people socially than it does from the way you relate to your own body or your own to your own impairments.
I think a good example of this would be something like, you know, when somebody is in a wheelchair and they can't find a wheelchair accessible ramp to go to, say, the dentist, and they end up having a situation with their teeth where they're like, yeah, all of the nearby dentists that I have don't have wheelchair accessible ramps, and therefore, like, I've tried multiple times, tried calling, they, like, don't know, they don't care. Like, where really does the fault lie in the person who is unable to get their teeth checked or teeth cleaned? Is it the fault of the person, where we say, okay, we'll cure your disability and then you can go visit the dentist's office freely? Or is it the support that society has around the person and the support system that person has around them, right?
Yeah. A very weird and, in my opinion, bad take around LLMs, large language models, is, oh, this can help people write and express their thoughts if they're somebody who has cognitive difficulty doing that. And I think the sad thing is not that there are people with cognitive impairments who have a difficulty expressing themselves in words. It's maybe that unless they express themselves in words eloquent enough for you to bother to read them, you don't bother to read them. And maybe you should bother to read them.
Yeah. Also well put. Oh, I see. So yeah, I started drawing these girls around the time that we started making our prototype for the Frontier. So this is like one of the original designs of. Oh boy, there's multiple things.
Too many layers going on.
Hold on.
Although I kind of also like the cyborg future idea where you just have multiple arms and multiple eyebrows, and that's why not?
No. Hold on. There we go.
Oh, there we go. Yes.
This was all made to like be movable in live 2D. We didn't end up animating this, but like I have everything on separate layers for just that part. Okay, so this is Freya.
In the real world, Freya is a wheelchair user and also has
cystic fibrosis.
Cystic fibrosis. Yes, I keep CF. That one. Keep forgetting what it stands for, but the way that the way that affects people is first off having a much shorter lifespan, but also the one primary symptom is having your lungs fill with fluid and being short of breath, and that's sort of the reason why using a wheelchair is very common for people with CF. It's not actually because of anything particularly to do with their legs. It's to do with stamina and ability to get around in the world with the amount of energy that they have.
Yep. And Lilith. There we go. This is Lilith. Yeah. Lilith is her girlfriend, and is has been is part of a group that is looking to liberate the frontier of people by asking people to leave the frontier voluntarily. It is a very difficult job, and she has a lot of very difficult conversations with people. But these are the original designs for the characters, and now I've started to kind of explore a little bit more into stylistic designs, because I feel like these designs are a little flat. I'm not sure what the word is, but they don't really catch the eye. They're not something that I would say oh yeah, this is it's a person, but it doesn't feel like a stylized person. So we started exploring different types of stylized characters. This is a very anime stylized character, where the eyes are very big and everything's a bit hyper exaggerated. That I feel like is one way that we could do it. Another way, which is one that I was recently thinking about, is trying to figure out how to replicate the sort of early interface Microsoft Paint type stuff in Procreate, which is where I do the majority of my art, dot matrix or type stuff, so that we do something that's a little bit more foam type things that has a very zany type feel or quality. The other thing that we could do for that is I think that we could probably photo kit bash some of photo bash photo collages and illustrations together for backgrounds, and that feels also pretty cool, in the sort of zine style that you and I might be into.
Yeah.
As an aside, this was some fan art I did for a friend's Wait, hold on. I'm gonna move this to the side so you can actually see it. But this is a friend of mine is a light novelist and writes a book series called Triple Strike.
Yeah.
And they were telling me that their light novel is queer but not actually yaoi because it doesn't have big hands and toxic relationships. So I just drew them this and I said, "You're welcome." The main characters' names are Sven, who's the big one,
Yep.
and Alan, who's the smaller one. And they are. It's a really, really fun series. It's got sort of like Terry Pratchett esque writing.
Yeah.
And it is, yeah, it's a fun BL light novel. Hold on. Since I said something about it, I
There
should.
you go. Triple Strike by G.M. Gray. Go read it.
Yeah, totally. Hold on.
Link incoming.
Link incoming. I'm pretty sure GM is on. Yep. Oh yeah, I knew we were already following each other. They are. The first one is called Triple Strike Threads of Fate, and it's awesome. I'm just gonna put it right here. I think that I have read almost. So they're on their 5th book now. And
Wow, I gotta catch up.
I know, because I'm at the end of A Gathering Storm, and I have not, I've not read Threads Unbound yet, so I feel really, I'm very sorry, GM, if you're listening to this, that I'm like really behind on the novels, but like, oh my god, go read them. I'm a big fan, and also like they do all sorts of fun like, stuff, so big shout out to them. But yes, I was doing some fan art for them, and just stupid fan art that friends do for each other. The same way, actually, fun story. GM and I met at a anime convention where it was we were both tabling as artists, and you know, it was kind of slow, so we were swapping artwork together, and we swapped like 2 really weird niche pieces of artwork, and from that point forward we knew that like we were going to be best friends. So we've been friends for a long time. That's how I make friends. I just draw stuff for people.
Excellent.
Okay, so back to the frontier. So yeah, so I got some new brushes. So I'm thinking I want to kind of experiment a little bit. One of the other programs that I do have that I could pull up here is I can either use Procreate for our. I can either use Procreate or I can use Pixaki. Have you heard of this one before?
I have not.
So Pixaki is a pixel program for the iPad, and it's pretty robust actually. I have heard when I really like a indie dev's like work or style, I'll usually say like, what programs do you use? Like, what tools do you use?
Yeah.
Let's talk shop. So Pixaki has come up a couple of times in use, but like it has your typical like small, medium, large sprite, and then you know like Game Boy GBA stuff.
Yeah.
I think a lot of Pixaki users use GB Studio as well, so that's just like you know. And it seems pretty cool. Like, for instance, if you and I wanted to do Mabby's, for instance, like portraits or something, where like somebody is calling over comms to another person, and you have like you know a large sprite or something like that, that might be cool.
Yeah.
But like. You know Valhalla, right?
Yeah.
Um, there we go. I think this feels a little bit too hi-fi for me. I'm thinking like a more lo-fi version of this might be cool.
Hmm.
Um, to do something that's a little bit more like pixely, with some kind of like anime character like type stuff. Also, I think if we end up doing any sort of like mini games or point and click stuff, it would be very cute to have like your main character here, and then you can click on like different things.
Hmm.
I actually just saw. We're gonna be using RenPy. Um, there we go. Yep. So I just recently saw a RPG framework for RenPy. Like, there's so many different plugins that you can plug into RenPy. Um, I've been pitching to Mabby's different types or things.
Hmm.
But like for instance, I don't want to do like a full RPG framework with like fights or anything like that. But given that like a lot of our stuff is based off of the Matrix, I feel like being able to move from room to room and like look at stuff and notice stuff and then like have a screen transition or something like that would be really awesome. Um, it could even be that like there's some special like battle or something, but that's not the main gameplay where it's like you battle against, I don't know, like some sub boss or like Mr. Uh, um, Mr. Smith kind of, you know. But yes, all that to say that like, let's see, do they have any? Oh, here we go. Documentation, right? This is super basic, super basic. But I think like for movement and stuff like that, we could potentially utilize something like this. Um. Anyway, all that to say, I've been thinking a little bit about like the style. What do you think, Mabbies? Do you like um, pixel style, Decker style, zine style?
I like all of it. Let's give it a go. Let's try out. I'm gonna try out something in like Game Boy style, so that's like four colors instead of two.
Sure.
Doesn't necessarily have to be Game Boy sized.
All right, let's. As an aside, I've been um, as a fun project, I've been trying to recreate all the characters in Angel Sanctuary, um, in like pixel art format. So this is Setsuna from Angel Sanctuary.
Hmm.
Uh, I will probably uh, nobody knows Angel Sanctuary anymore. It's like such an old like manga or whatever, but um, I'm gonna bring it back. I'm gonna just put in some like cute pixel sprites. Let's see. So we got. Let's Maybe something like this. Lilith.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also like, as an aside, I'm a big fan of like old school JRPGs. So like this style where you have like a really small portrait of them like on the overview map, and then you have like a more detailed like portrait of them. I really like that.
Yeah.
That doesn't look as dynamic. Yeah, something like that. Okay, let's. Are there layers? That's animation. As opposed to Procreate, which I'm very well and comfortable with, Pixaki is a new. All right, so we want. Do we have a palette? Okay. I have to remind myself as to like what the palette is for Game Boy. Hex. Thank you. Here, I'm gonna move this to the side so you can see me inputting the. I have never seen a hex like thing like this.
Hmm.
It's actually cool. I like it.
Yeah.
Can I add a current previous? What? Picker, yes. How do you add a palette? Okay, we're gonna have to look up. Open the palette library. In the palette menu. What's the palette menu? Oh, there's layers here. Okay. Oh, I see it. Okay, palette. Add palette. Add a color. You go back to the. That's it. We've done it. Add that. Okay. It's very exciting. This is the kind of riveting work that you really like. Day in the life of game dev right now.
Sure is.
Add all my colors to new palette. Stuff in the palette.
That's it, just 4.
Oh, yeah. I don't know why it has an extra one there. Okay. And then we do add. No. Delete this color. Select colors. Boop, 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 boop. Done.
Well, you selected them, but
Select colors.
select everything else and then delete.
But why would I do that? Can't I save it for like save palette?
EG16.
Help.
I guess EDG16 is the name of somebody's palette. And it's the default one, even.
I mean, that's fine. I just don't feel like I need to delete these colors. Should I delete the colors?
I think you can probably delete them. They'll still be in the... they're in EDG16 when you need them.
This palette is going to be named. Okay. Oh, what the heck?
One.
Okay. So.
Alright.
Alright.
Well, you can use theirs or you can use yours. Doesn't matter.
Oh, the game. This Game Boy one is actually like quite good.
Okay.
But load palette. How do I get rid of this one now? Oh. Adding colors, bulk action. Palette library, yes. Importing, exporting a palette. I gotta put the Pico 8.
Yeah.
Oh, delete. Yeah. Get lost. Okay, now we're gonna load the palette, and there's the game.
There it is. Cool. It's been loaded.
Yes. A win! A win! Yay! Alright, press size. Here underneath here so that we can get the drawing. Cool. Block out. Person. Okay. Something like this, and then her hair. Something like this. was like, it's time to go. Is there a white or transparent?
Nope, just those four.
Oof, okay.
It's pretty severe restriction. You do not have to stick to it. You can definitely add colors to your palette if you want.
No, I'm good.
You're the one doing the art here.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think it's better to start with a more restricted. Something like this, maybe? Oh, Jello. Alright, hold on. Our sweet
One cat moment,
yeah,
please.
our sweet elderly cat wants to join the live stream, and she's not taking no for an answer. It'd be great if we got a good like Mike Yao. I think Jelly Jams gonna give us a good Mike Yao. Alright. Wow, so we don't even get black in this either.
Nope.
Alright. This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Let's do a little cleanup.
There's a general sentiment among indie game devs that Oh, pixel art is easier than higher res art, or
Oh, I think it's way
faster
harder.
or something. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's quite hard too. I think it's more constrained, which when you start to get more comfortable with pixel art, might make it faster because eventually you reach the saturation point where you're like, I, I can't keep tweaking this. There's uh, no more improvement that I'm gonna get out of these pixels by trying to change them more. And I think that it's a little bit harder to saturate a high res drawing. You know what I mean by saturate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That it is sort of like what's the word? It's gone through all the stages of done that it needs to go through.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think if you get comfortable enough with any workflow, eventually you start to notice the saturation point.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
yeah. I think that's the hardest part of a lot of creative projects. It's
Knowing when to
deciding when you're done.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, that's starting to look good.
Yeah, if you've ever looked at like speed paints or anything like that, I feel like the first thing you'll notice is that the like basic form of like what the artist wants to do seems to come together pretty fast, but then when it comes to like um, any of the details or like backgrounds or anything like that, then it starts to be like the artist is messing around with things and trying different things and saying like, okay, this doesn't work or this works.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Hmm.
I could definitely see myself making like more pixel art like this. Um, you know, I was just thinking, Mabby's, that we haven't taken up. We need to do the pixel art class
Yeah.
together.
Hmm.
Um, Sometime last year, one of our favorite pixel artists was offering to do pixel art like classes and coaching, and we contacted him and never got back to him because we were unbelievably swamped.
Yeah.
But I'd like to go
Not
back.
bad.
Yeah, it's all right. I
Yeah.
mean, I'd like to go back and say like let's set a date and then like we can meet and talk.
Cool.
But yeah, cool. So thanks for being a part of our very exciting two-parter, which was one, we played foam, we looked at comments, and we got banned off of Twitch, and so that was action-packed first hour. We packed a lot in the first hour, and then the next hour we just sort of like settled down a little bit to some like fun art making and storytelling about our next game.
Mm.
Cool. I think I'm gonna wrap it up for now. I'm gonna poke a little bit like more on these pixels. And actually, like, I kind of want to decide some of the posing before. Like, I just sort of picked a pose,
Yeah.
and then just like kind of went with it. But like, I want to honestly decide some of the posing of each of our characters. Before I go back into like another character portrait, or like I'm gonna do the sort of like character portrait, you know, like the face character portraits.
Close up.
Yeah, close up character portraits, because I think that would be.
Frame.
Yeah, that frame.
I'm not in frame doing this. I don't know. There we go.
Yes. Just like that.
Anyway.
Thank you so much for everyone who joined in to our stream. We really appreciate your support and just, yeah, in general, like, watching us, giving us a look. I was going to say there's an exciting thing that's happening tomorrow that I can't talk about, so please check our socials. I will be announcing them on all of our socials and Steam and itch.io sometime in the next, like, 24 to 48 hours. So.
Yeah.
If you haven't followed us already on itch.io, it is Illuminus at itch.io. I use primarily my account to post, but I mean, the games are also Mabby's and my games as Studio Terranova. If you haven't already checked out Family Friendly Online Art Museum, please feel free to do so. And please like and comment on that. We are currently working on our Japanese version of Terra Nova, as well as finishing up Tomodachi 8-in-1. Those two projects, the Tomodachi 8-in-1 is a Pico 8 project that Matt and I started some time ago, and we're looking to kind of wrap that up this year, so that we can work on the Frontier together. And check out our other games, Help I've Been Cursed with a Bubble Butt, also very silly and fun, also about butts too. And we have games on Steam. Terra Nova is on Steam, and Help I've Been Cursed with a Bubble Butt is also on Steam, so feel free to give us a look and shout out. All right. Thank you everyone for watching and hanging out with us, and we will see you
again
next week.
Time.
Yeah. And one of our members, Bonnie, will be doing more work on her Bitsy game, so we will be hanging out with her while she's doing that.
Monday, 4:20.
Yeah. Can I say blaze it? No. Okay. Alrighty. Take care, y'all. Have a very safe and fun week, and we will see you again on Monday.
All right.
Bye. Bye.